Garrett Haake was in the courtroom today for today's historic indictment. Garrett, what was it like?
Lester, the mood in the courtroom was weighty and tense. The Republican presidential frontrunner sitting arms crossed and silent in front of a judge, now facing these unprecedented federal charges.
Hello, everybody.
Tonight, a defiant Donald Trump making a surprise stop inside a Cuban restaurant in Miami, greeting supporters after his historic arraignment.
We have a country that's got nothing but problems. We're a nation in decline, and then they do this stuff. And you see where the people are. We love the people.
Later boarding his plane and leaving Miami, now the first former president facing federal criminal charges. A 37-count indictment alleging he mishandled classified information, then obstructed investigators when they tried to get it back. This morning, the Republican frontrunner seen with his son at his Doral resort before getting into his motorcade, which then drove through South Florida to the courthouse. Along the way, Mr. Trump posting one of the saddest days in the history of our country, with crowds of Trump supporters gathered outside.
Freedom for Trump! Freedom for Trump!
The former president arriving underground, escorted by Secret Service, away from crowds and cameras. With no cameras allowed inside federal courtrooms, the former president processed like other federal defendants, including having a digital fingerprint scan, though no mugshot was taken. His aide, Walt Nauta, who was also charged by the special counsel, in court today, too. Inside the courtroom, Mr. Trump sitting with arms tightly crossed for much of the hearing that lasted less than an hour, never speaking to the court, his attorney pleading not guilty on his behalf. Prosecutors telling the judge he is not a flight risk. The case centers around requests by the National Archives for the former president to return classified documents after he left office. The FBI eventually searching his Mar-a-Lago home, where agents say more than 100 classified documents were discovered. The special counsel alleging they found boxes, some of which contained classified information, in Mar-a-Lago's storage rooms, a ballroom, and a bathroom. And that on an audio recording from 2021, Mr. Trump acknowledged that at least one document was still classified, saying, quote, "As president, I could have declassified it. And now I can't, but this is still a secret." Overnight, Mr. Trump insisting he declassified material using his power as commander-in-chief, though he has provided no evidence that he did so.
As president, I have the right to declassify.
Mr. Trump accusing the Biden Justice Department of targeting him with charges only because he's the top Republican challenger to President Biden in 2024.
There's no criminality here. It's ridiculous. And these people, look, they're using it. It's election interference. They're using it to get elected. They think that if they can damage somebody's reputation, they can do it.
Mr. Trump firing back at the special counsel late tonight.
One of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law. What these thugs have done to my family is a disgrace.
Garrett special counsel Jack Smith was also in the courtroom today.
That's right, Lester. And after all his attacks on the special counsel today, Mr. Trump found himself seated just 20 feet from him. And while Mr. Smith looked in Trump's direction several times today, the former president never returned his gaze. Both men surrounded by heavy security presence on their way in and out of the courtroom. Lester?
Senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett joins me now. Laura, today was really just the beginning. What's the road to trial look like?
Well, that's largely going to depend on the judge that's overseeing the trial, Judge Aileen Cannon. She's going to be in the driver's seat judging on those pretrial motions that are likely to be filed by Trump's legal team, and she's going to be the one that decides how fast this case actually goes. Remember, she's the Trump appointee that actually ruled in his favor when it came to the FBI searches of his home, trying to exclude that evidence. So it'll be interesting to see how she rules now that she's the judge overseeing this case.
It's not the only place that he's facing legal peril. We're hearing now from Georgia, which has another case we're watching carefully.
Yes, just minutes ago, Lester, we just confirmed that the Fulton County Sheriff's Office actually traveled to both New York and Miami to gather some intel on security preparations. We're being told that they're coordinating with federal, state, and local authorities in the event that charges are actually filed by the district attorney having to do with election interference in the 2020 election as it relates to Georgia.
And news from the civil course, E. Jean Carroll.
Yes, the writer who's, of course, accused the former president of both rape and defamation. Remember, last month, she actually won $5 million from a jury. Well, a judge just tonight actually decided in a different case having to do with statements, defamatory statements that the former president actually made against her while he was president. The judge now saying that she can actually amend her complaint based off of the way he mocked her in that CNN town hall, and she can ask the jury now for $10 million.
A lot of moving parts tonight. Thanks for keeping track of it all. Laura Jarrett, we appreciate She hit it. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.